Dear Bhante, dear Venerable sisters and brothers, Dhamma friends, we are going to start today's talk. May everyone settle down for the talk and give the consent with 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Sukha panaye vedana king sukha king dukkha ti. Dear Bhante, Venerable sisters and brothers, Dhamma friends, for the 5th time, we are going to take this subject of feelings, in Pali we call Vedana, as facilitating knowledge for our practice. As Venerable Maha is recommending, whenever we are serious about our practice, in full-time practice, in residential practice, it is worthwhile to understand about feelings, about Vedana thoroughly. And he recommends there are 3 kinds of Vedana, 3 kinds of feelings. So whenever you are going to go deep into the practice, into the mindfulness, invariably the feelings may come forward, and you are about to go deep, go thorough into feelings in understanding as far as the theoretical book knowledge is concerned, theory understanding, and deductive and rational way, and on top of that, direct touch. As usual, I would say, to go into that in a direct experience is concerned, or meditation is concerned, you must have this theoretical understanding as well as this deductive knowledge, rational knowledge, and for that you may develop the mindfulness and awareness basically with the materiality, and that is to say part or partial of your body or bodily posture, and when and where you are to focus upon a particular part or the whole posture, there are common sense, after a while feelings going to start. By that time, if you have certain amount of mindfulness and certain amount of direct touch with your materiality, the corporeality, the concrete one, then it will be really, really helpful for you to ponder into and go deep into these feelings. That is why we, before coming into this topic today, we try to gather fair amount of understanding about how the mindfulness is working, when and where you met up with the primary object or materiality, how much you go with open-mindedness to these 11 facets and ready for the transient nature, the changing nature. And with that qualification only, you are going to advance to the feelings, that is the immaterial part. So I would like to relate one of the particular key discourse or sutta to reveal feelings yet in another way, namely through this Chullavedalla Sutta you find in Majjhima Nikaya teachings, and there is a very nice episode whereby there was once Upasaka, that means a householder. He used to go to the monastery and sometimes take meditation as such, sitting and walking. Sometimes he is listening and keep on practicing, and maybe due to the contemporary idea of the India at that time, he never thinks sharing that with his own wife. The couple do not have children. He thinks the females are to be at home, keep the house and to do the work, but not to go into that deep regarding the materiality or immaterial thing. So he keep on practice. While practicing, he gained first and the second fruition. I was so happy, but anyway he managed to keep it as a secret, and the family life is going. And wife also treating him very nicely, with due respect. And one day he read the third fruition, that Anagami Phala, and that day when he come back home, as usual the wife came towards the staircase. He just asked the wife, "Don't touch my body." And then the wife obeyed the situation, and she never asked why, and she prepared the dinner, and next day also went very peacefully. And then she asked, "Why yesterday strange, you are not allowing me to touch your body? Anything have gone wrong, or you have any idea about other wife or something like that? What is happening?" Then he hesitated and told, "Anyway, now I don't entertain that kind of a sensuous pleasure, so better to keep away, and I think of going to the forest life or renunciation, away from the house. That is the furtherance of my idea. So that is one thing I just wanted to share with you. I have no more interest in the household life, but I have my responsibility towards you. Would you mind to take all the properties and run the house? And would you mind to give permission to go out on full-time meditation?" Then she keep on asking, "What is this, and can I share, can I understand everything," and kind of thing. And she asked at last, "If you are going to renounce, can I, being a female, also?" Then he told, "It is possible, but very difficult, you being very accustomed to this household life and facilities and amenities, and therefore it may be difficult." She told, "Never mind, if it is possible, I also have no much of interest about this household, all the facilities. Can you give me permission equally to renounce?" And he gave permission, but with half-heartedly, thinking that the Dhammajiva may suffer by renouncing. But anyway, she insists, no problem. If you give permission, you are the only person can give the permission, and you also can leave, I also can leave. We will let the neighbors to share the property. We have no children, and happily they distribute the properties and both go out. And Dhammajiva was the name of the female. She goes to a further away place and start right from the beginning, and very soon she developed mindfulness. She developed mindfulness toward the materiality, feelings, perception and everything. She became full-fledged arahant, more than the husband, ex-husband. And the husband was at the third Maggapala, Anagami, and one day Sister Dhammajiva, Arahant Dhammajiva, came to the monastery to pay respect to the Buddha. That was one of the tradition at that time. Whenever someone is fulfilled his or her celibate life or this practice, they come and say thanks to the Buddha. And she come, and ex-husband, even though he is anagami, still he is having kind of a doubt, thinking she would have been discouraged in the monastic life. That is why she came back to the monastery. And in an evening he paid visit to the Sister Dhammajiva. Now the dialogue is starting. Of course, it's very, very informative, very, very direct touch. It's recommendable to yogis to read that particular sutta, known as Chullavedalla Sutta. So one chapter is asking kind of a question which is not normal in our day-to-day life. Is asking to cross-check. Visakha is the husband's name. Asking this question to cross-check her early wife, and without knowing she is now full-fledged enlightened. But it is very good for people like us. After 2600 years ago, how was the discussion and what is the crux of the teaching of the Buddha? We are listening from the mouth of the disciples. And the Upasaka, the Visakha is asking, Sukha panaye vedana, king sukha, king dukkha. What is the pleasant and painful feeling of the pleasant feeling? And what is the pleasant and what is the unpleasant or pain in the pleasant feeling? I mean, it is usually, this won't cross your mind. You can see the pleasant feeling as pleasant feeling. You never think it is in the 11 facets. You never think the desirable part and the undesirable part of the pleasurable feeling. So this asking itself, the question itself, is against the grain. And this start a very nice dialogue. Of course, he's asking what is the painful feeling and what is the pleasant feeling in the pain, and what is the pain and the pleasure of no pain, no pleasure. So this is the question. So first we have to listen to Sister Dhammajiva and think whether it is reasonable, whether it is the inferential knowledge is accepting this or not, and then only we can put into practice. So if you have enough theoretical understanding, by listening to the theory itself, you will second this suggestion made by the Sister Dhammajiva. Or otherwise, you may reason it out and you may keep on inferential knowledge and rational, and in practice, sometimes you may understand. And the answer, the theoretical answer given by the Sister Dhammajiva is Sukha ko auso Visakha vedana thiti sukha viparinama dukkha. The Sister Dhammajiva is telling, O Upasaka, that is by name the Visakha, as far as the pleasurable feeling is concerned, as far as it is consisting it is pleasurable. Whenever it is transition, whenever it is changed into, when it is disappearing in the sense, it becomes painful. So this is teaching us the pleasurable feeling itself is not something persistent, it's ever changing. And pleasurable feeling has nothing to change into other than the pain. So therefore, as far as it is persist, you feel pleasurable, you try your best to keep it persistent, but it is beyond your control, it's naturally changing into others, transitional, and evolving into otherwise. In that, it is nothing but pain. It is something like the in-breath and out-breath. When you are observing the in-breath right from the beginning, through the middle to the end, it ends up with another out-breath. And whenever you see the out-breath, it's also transitional, gives rise to the in-breath. Likewise, changing. So, feelings also whenever you encounter with the pleasurable feeling, you are happy as far as it is persist. Because underneath you know it is the cessation of the pleasurable feeling is the pain, that you do not like it. So you try your best to keep it consistent, persistent. That is what you call the pleasure principle. That is what we try our best, in our best of our ability, to reach the pleasure and keep it persistent. It's an utter failure for human nature, to humanity. But no one is ready to accept this fact. We keep on camouflage, we keep on pursuit, perverse, thinking the pleasure we can keep all the time. So, all our efforts and all our researches and all our teachings and our skillfulness every time to go for higher kind of a pleasure and to make it persistent. So it is sustenance is the problem. And when you go to the second question, what is the pain and what is the pleasure of the painful feeling? And the question raised by Visakha the Upasaka, and the answer came by the Arahant Dhammajiva, Dukkha Vedana, Thiti Dukkha, Viparinama Sukha. If you look really into the painful feeling, as far as it is persist, it is irritating, it is unpleasant, but it is not so ever, it's changing into pleasure. The end of the painful feeling is the pleasure. And there also, if you understand, there are 11 facets, the pleasurable state and the painful state, unless otherwise you are a learned person or with the theory understanding, you never happy to look vigilantly and diligently to the painful feeling, because your mind is little bit phobia. It is hesitant to look into the painful feeling. So you can hardly see the changing nature of the painful feeling, because your mind is not prepared for that. Because this is what you call our culture. So always avoiding them, escaping them, that is to say, escaping and avoiding of the painful feeling. So therefore we never develop kind of a face-to-face radical approach with the painful feeling. So first thing, we fail to understand the changing nature of the painful feeling. And whenever, if you see it with evenly suspended attention, with the choiceless awareness, it is leading to pleasure, but you are impatient. You are not waiting to see the last episode, the ending part of the painful feeling. So therefore, even it is true or digestible, palatable in the theoretical sense, very difficult to keep the painful feeling face to face. So more and more you practice in the meditation, you feel aches and pains and discomfort and irritation and everywhere. Each time such irritation and painful thing happen, you make a charge sheet, you make a question paper telling that I can't be mindful because of this irritation, because of this painful feeling, because of this uncomfortable situation. How can I change my posture? How can I change my cushion? How can I change the climate and get rid of rain, get rid of flies and get rid of sounds and everything. So you can read the interview reports full of complaints. It's true, that is the way we expect. We expect by meditation to get rid of suffering. So therefore, whenever we sit, we feel get enlightened quickly. There won't be any suffering. What the hell that when you come here and if the suffering increases, if the painful feeling is increasing, and yogis are the only people between two worlds. They have lost the household's the pleasure, household's comfort, and come here to get a permanent answer, but end up with full of suffering. So they become dumbbound, they can't talk, and they will never write what is happening in the reports. They write with their own views, their own commentaries. So when you are reading, you can understand how much we are lacking, at least the theoretical understanding. How much we are lacking the radical reflection, going against the grain. And to do this noble experiment, noble quest, Arya Pariyesana, and our mind is so rational, so linear, and so according to the traditional thinking, it never think from the other side or against the grain kind. So that is why in listening sometimes it appears like something novelty. And when you are thinking in these terms, in inferential knowledge and the rationalization, how can I look into a painful feeling from the beginning to the end without a judgment, without assuming, without giving chance for the preconceived idea? Very difficult. For that only you must have certain amount of patience with respect to the materiality. If you have that kind of experience, patience, one day you may go prepared. That's the whole point of this listening to talk. One day, instead of asking question from others or passing the ball to someone, you will just feel right from the beginning to the middle and to the middle to the end of the pleasurable feeling. Equally, to take the feeling, whether it is with the pleasure or pain, feeling from the beginning to the middle to the end as an object, and look at it like a scientist with a distance. It is called getting a distance from the pain. So as far as the pain is concerned, to have this kind of a noble quest, it gives an example like, if you are a professional surgeon, you must be clinically distanced from the patient to conduct the operation professionally. If you are going to feel the patient, you will never be a professional. So you have to get a clinical distance and do according to the theory that you have learned, and patient also must be somewhat benumbed. That is exactly the same. Can you observe these feelings as a third person? That is why the Buddha, in the famous Satipatthana Sutta, he put this in a technical term, Vedanasu Vedananupassi Viharati. Whenever feeling arises, you look at it from this third person's viewpoint. Don't try to be emotionally get involved. Don't assume this is a bad omen, this is something wrong, that I must get rid of that, and oh, I must escape like. That all preventing your direct experience, chances for you to advance. So in that sense, that Visakopasaka's question itself is a very professional question with full of experience, and it's a very real touch, or real way to test someone, asking his ex-wife, luckily she is fully enlightened, dukkha vedana panaye, king dukkha king sukha. Whenever the painful feeling arises, what is their pleasurable, what is their painful? And she says, as far as the painful feeling is persist, and pain, but it's transition nature, it's changing nature, and it gives rise to pleasure. So how much should you be patient to look at painful feeling as the pleasurable feeling, to see it from the beginning through the middle to the end. So this is, you may be too immature at the immaterial level, unless otherwise you be trained to see the beginning, the middle and the end of the primary object. So to say, if you take the example of in-breath and out-breath, usually you see the middle of the in-breath, and that is the most gross area. So even some people say, I can't touch, I can't feel the breath, because it is very subtle, even the middle part. So imagine you become very calm and focused and settled, and you manage to see the in-breath, you see just the tip of the iceberg. The majority part beyond your perception level. So therefore the Buddha asks you to see the middle first. So this is the practical, pragmatic point. And when and where you are to keep the in-breath face to face, each and every in-breath yet to come, so to say that you develop the confidence, okay, the forthcoming in-breath also I can see, next in-breath also I can see, because body is very calm, mind is very focused, and I know I am mindful. And when that kind of a face-to-face situation, then the Buddha asks us to see the beginning part of the in-breath. From where does it appear? Is it appearing as you observe, or you observe a process? Whenever it is perceptible, it appears like the beginning. But before that, it is existing unperceivable, because your mind is not refined. Your faculties are not sharp enough. Your mindfulness is not steadfast. So therefore, whenever you are to see the in-breath, you are supposed to see the beginning of the in-breath. That means you must be prepared, vigilant, before the in-breath happens. This is what you call the diligence. This is what you call the vigilance. So for that you must have the assurance, I am face to face with the in-breath, and next in-breath just seeing the middle is not enough. I must sharpen my mindfulness so that I will focus the beginning part. It is like when you see the sun in the midday. So if someone is asking you to see the dawn is very beautiful. Before the sunrise, 30 minutes before, the sky becomes very bright and like a stage arrangement, very colorful. Be prepared. So if it is so, you have to go to the East Coast at least 30 minutes before. Just wait, and then only you can see the dawn. And after the dawn only, the sunrise happens. So likewise, before the in-breath, there are some kind of early signs, Pubbha Nimitta, and that more than mindfulness, they are the preparedness. Go prepared, be diligent, be vigilant. Object is not yet come, but you are so prepared. And if you get delayed, you will see already arisen sun. So the process of rising sun is a very dramatic thing. In Sri Lanka, we have a very big mountain called Siripada, where Adams Peak, and during the season, people all climb up to the mount and waiting till the sunrise happens. They think it's a blissful. So the whole earth becoming specially prepared like, so they become very silent and gaze at the eastern side, and they feel the first foremost rays of the sun. And before that 30 minutes you have to observe. Exactly the way, if you wish to sharpen your mindfulness with respect to the materiality, we have taken the breath in this case. So you can take rising and falling also, and you can, if you are sharp enough, you can feel how the weight you are going to take from the heel, which is shifting from the right leg, now you are going to take it to the left heel, and there also there is a kind of a arrangement, just like in the relay race, the passing the baton without dropping. So this is the tricky area. You are challenging your existing mindfulness and sharpening it. So exactly in the feelings, if you see the beginning, that means you are already skillful in observing the beginning in the materiality, and then you can see whenever it come up to your perception level, it becoming gross and gross and gross, come to the peak, and then disappears, and again becoming unperceivable, and there you can see it's always a bell-shaped curve. Each and every sankhara, the rising thing, has the same shape. Fractal theory indicates the world is with the holographic way. Every tiny particle is explaining the totality, system. So therefore you take either breath or take a painful or pleasurable feeling, and when you observe the beginning, you are at the tail end of the bell-shaped curve, and you can understand at a point you get clicked. You get a blink. Oh, now I feel the beginning of the in-breath. And then onward you can perceive. And if you are to be more advanced, can I touch, can I get the feeling 1 split second before, in the next breath, in-breath? And with that skillness, when you go deep and deep and deep into the rising part of the in-breath, your mindfulness becomes so sharp. 3 years before, one day Pandita Sayadaw is giving a talk. He told, if you keep on persist with this observation of your primary object, and you can see the way the mindfulness gather the momentum, it is unbelievable. This is happening only for the consistent yogis, day by day, sharpening the mindfulness with your proven primary object, just to see the rushing part. More and more becoming sharp, becoming alert, becoming diligent, becoming vigilant, and there you find your mindfulness is very gross. By this consistent practice, can go to the very beginning, and the beginning point is a mystic. Nowhere the breath starts. And then onward, you have to keep the track with the breath. It becomes very gross. And the most magical part is what will happen at the end of the in-breath. Exactly the same thing. The known thing disappears into the unknown. A thing which is covered with the boundary, losing the boundary. Thing which is nameable, thing which can be called by name, disappear into the no-name situation, unperceivable situation. And when and where, whether it's materiality or mentality, whenever it loses the boundary, you are losing the boundary of your egotistic idea. So that is why you get challenged. You feel nauseatic. You feel vomitish. You feel uncomfortable. You feel very difficult to maintain the attention. So therefore, you have to do very patiently. Very patiently you have to go to see this known to unknown, with boundary to no boundary, labeling to unlabelable situation, and from the limited situation to the infinite situation. This area or this transition only you can experience, you can witness if you have the physical and mental healthy. Otherwise, you will challenging your imbalance in the mind or imbalance in the body. So when and where you go to the deep and deep into the known to unknown area, it is a good medical test. It's a good mental test. You have to be very sharp. You have to be very healthy. Otherwise, you can't maintain this subtle balance. So day by day, if you are increasing, you won't believe you are developing so much of immunity in the vicissitude of the climate in the world, vicissitude of the geographical changes in the world, and the acclimatization capacity. This part we have never tested. by testing the beginning of the in-breath and the end of the in-breath, beginning of the out-breath and the end of the out-breath, the beginning of the feelings and the end of the feeling. You are going into the unknown area, you are going into the newly discovering area. Our conservative mind is so hesitant. Whenever you go there, it comes back twice the way, twice the speed back to the known area. This is what we call our worldly knowledge. Worldly knowledge appears like protected. Worldly knowledge appears like the familiarity. So whenever we are going to the unknown, is we are going little by little, so you have to understand mind is always pulling back to the known area, and we can say our known domain or our known amount of suffering. We appreciate our known suffering than the unknown. So therefore, whenever you are going to go to the feelings, to see it is transitional nature, and where is the boundaries are disappearing and changing the names, and when it is happening, how much we can witness it. So each and every person have the same capacity, same amount of tools, but the preparedness, but the amount of your trial and error you have done before, the amount of your theory understanding, and the love of the unknown, going to the unknown, that's the point where our evolution gets stuck. We are never evolving, we are ever in the crux, in our stereotype way, in our known area, tradition. So, but you may have a doubt whether we can change the world, we can change the society at large. That is not the issue. Whatever the society at large going to say, if you wish, you can take this. No one can prevent you. No one, you can't push other people into this situation without their own will, their own willingness to do it. And whenever you are doing, whoever may be not happy with you, not parallel with you, can do it. More than materiality, the mentality is inviting you, go into the quite unknown area. So there are so much of thrills and frills whenever you are losing the boundary. The pleasure become pain, pain become pleasure. And in between, there's a grey area. That's the sharpness of the understanding of Sister Dhammajiva. And of course it is provoking, it is stirred, catalyzed by the question of Upasaka, the Visakha. He says, Adukkama Sukha Vedana, aye, King Sukha, King Dukkha. In between area, no pleasure, no pain. It is called neither pain, no pleasure. We don't know that area. The transition. And after asking the pleasure, pain, and now he is pointing towards the no pain, no pleasure situation. It's an apt question, and the answer also, the Sister Dhammajiva is telling, as far as you know no pain, no pleasure, it's a pleasure. As far as you do not know no pain, no pleasure, it's a pain. So this is the new area we are assimilating by practice. The feelings have three kinds: pleasure, pain, and no pain, no pleasure, or indifference, or middle area, or grey area, that we will never come to know unless otherwise you label each and every painful feeling and label each and every pleasurable feeling. That is the way Mahasi Sayadaw from Burma tackled this question. He says in the sitting meditation, or in walking meditation, or in day-to-day activities, whenever pleasurable feelings happen, just keep noting pleasurable, 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 pleasurable. Whenever painful feeling happens, notice painful, painful, painful. And see, if you are sitting for 1 hour, 60 minutes, how many minutes you can label it as painful, how many minutes and pleasurable, so much of minutes, no pain, no pleasure. Majority of the time, as for the feeling wise, you can't categorize, because it is not come to the pain or pleasure. So, more and more you to practice consistently, sitting, walking and day-to-day activities, you may find more than 80% of your time, no pain, no pleasure. And unlucky enough, you claim that area as boring, monotonous, uncertain, fearful, unknown. To do something like kind of a tendency arises whenever there is no pain, no pleasure. So that is the point. We are searching for hobbies, go for the television, read the newspaper, one or the other way of pastime. And when you go home, so much of opportunities for you to not to be in the no pain, no pleasure area, but to go for so much of hobbies, so much of entertainments. So when you come to the forest, when you sit under a tree, when you go to a sunyagara means there is no indulgence of the faculties. A lot of people, they are very, very busy, they are working with meditation, but no sensuous pleasure. So even if you come to know that I am in no pain, no pleasure, there is no escaping paths. So you are sometimes naturally forced to just see, just note, just be, and just be aware, no pain, no pleasure. The day you accept it, almost you are like enlightened, as far as the feelings are concerned. Something like, the day you accept and be aware about the changing from in-breath to out-breath, out-breath to in-breath, there you can understand you have mastered the materiality. Because in-breath comes to cessation, and then after a pause, only out-breath starts. The pause, in between, never we experience it, it is not tangible. You can't perceive with our faculties, but you can see there is a gap. Likewise in the pain and pleasure, if you note the pain as pain and pleasure as pleasure and keep the book, you may find most of the time that there is nothing to label, nothing to be labeled. And the day you understand, day you go prepared to see this no pain, no pleasure, that is the point you may find you complain as boring, you complain as monotonous, uncertain, and irritated like, and nauseatic, and don't feel like prepared for that. So to give the proper attitude, or to give a kind of a hint, Sister Dhammajiva is telling, go prepared. Whenever there is no pain, no pleasure, knowing is a pleasure. If you do not know, that is called ignorance. That's called idiot. That's called darkness. That's called unknown. So what is in our life? How much time we miss the bus with respect to feeling. So that very difficult to understand, unless otherwise you have tools like experience with the materiality and sharpness in your mindfulness and your preparedness and your theory understanding and your noble quest. You are ready to do experiment with. And when we are doing, who Pandita Sada used to say, whenever there is no pain, no pleasure, and mind is bewildering, thinking about amusing yourself, escaping yourself, and there you find as far as you have a pain, At least you are mindful. At least you are in the body. But the thing is, you have the hate undermining, or aversion is undermining for the painful feeling, so you are not ready to accept it. When there is no pain, no pleasure, mind is wandering, daydreaming, fantasizing. So, painful feelings sometimes bring your mind at home. Therefore, some yogis sit on the gravel and just wait, not to happen, no pain, no pleasure. Instead, feel pain, because at least there you have an object, the pain, to focus upon. That's a kind of a self-mortification kind of a practice. And that was there heavily popular before the time of the enlightenment of the Buddha. Many people start self-torturing and having 4 fireplaces right round and in the mid-sun, and he sit in between and chanting mantra, or try to maintain this situation, of course not under the name of mindfulness, and they are utterly engaged. And people come and worship, telling that he is really a yogi, and that there some of them the Buddha to be also practiced. But later he told, more than that, you can practice with your materiality, you can practice with your own feelings, and they are the touching the transitional part. And whenever you are touching the transitional part, you have to understand, end of the pleasurable feeling, it change its face value, it change its label, and go into the painful, and how much you are looking at it with the neutral mind, mindful mind, non-judgmental mind, non-reactional mind, and without preconceived ideas, premeditated ideas, very difficult. Our mind is so crafty, our mind is so perverted, so cheating, so escaping, and you can't find fault with anyone. You can understand how the ignorance is working, and how the crazy mind, the craving mind, the desirable mind, or pleasurable mind, searching something pleasurable more than the knowledge. So when and where this kind of a transition happens, you must have all the arms, all the material, all the tools, and ways and means, go prepared. So with this preparedness is like an ambrosia, giving all the kind of answer. And for that, mindfulness is the invariable tool you must have. And there are also first the materiality and then the feeling. When it is happening, do not try to push all the way in one shot or within 1 minute or 1 second. Let it happen slowly. That means let your immunity develop slowly, so that you will, next day you will go prepared. So very tiny feelings happens, and whenever it happens, you can still understand. Feelings are there, still I can be with mindful. I can be mindful with the primary object, so to say, my breath. And after a while you see the pain is slowly increasing, and the mind is more challenged and more threatened. So it is going to see the pain or feeling rather than the breath. And there you can understand, just like a open flame burning outdoor, and a lot of cross currents are happening. The flame is moving, never burn upright. Mindfulness is not steadfast, it is moving, because the threat. And whenever the feeling, we'll say pleasure, unpleasure, painful feeling, overpass and become more powerful than the breath, naturally your attention goes into pain, and easily you may forget about the breath. So their mind is quite unrest, irritated, and aversion. And therefore, it is like a bubbling water. You can't see your face as such, or you can see the depth of the water body, and you are carried away so much. if you go prepared, through that pain, through that unpleasantness, through that aversion, occasionally you can you can apply your mind and see whether your body is living or dead, whether your body is sleeping or not, whether your body is mindful or not, whether you do breathing or not. So occasionally you can see through the pain and check, cross-check the breath or your sitting body, sitting posture, and there you can see the pain is not like a wall, it is see-through. Through pain you can feel here and there the breath, here and there the sitting posture. And whenever it is happening, the growing momentum of the unpleasantness break. So give such a chance, look into your primary object occasionally and try to live, try to maintain your mindfulness 1 split second without giving into pain and get up and go or change your posture. Don't think that you are going to going to practice 1 hour complete with the pain. No, it may go into the extremes. Only only thing you can do is amidst of pain, unpleasant, painful, still can you see the breath, your old friend? Do you know the way back home? Your at-home situation. Whenever it happens, you can see pain is not a blank wall, you can see through. And same thing you can use in a contradictory way, in a different ways. Whenever you are peaceful and calm with the breath, you can check with the other body parts whether you can feel them. The knees are not much of painful, but you can see some feelings. You can touch, you can feel the other things. Still you are with the breath, you are mindful with the breath, but still you can feel some feelings. They are not threatening, but they are at the subsistence level, so the bottom level, and there you can see breath is closer, feelings are far away. When the feelings are threatening and become aggravated, you can see feelings are closer and the breath is far away. Likewise, within the breath itself you can see close and far. And whenever you are let the pain or feeling with the breath or materiality, mentality working together, they are playing in such a way, when the breath becomes close and object of mindfulness, main object, feelings are never not available. They are available, they are far away. They are less in the conspicuous, the prominency, and you can still look into that. And sometimes the pain becomes very powerful, but the breath is there. Your sitting posture is there. So likewise when you are doing it, is like a play. It's like an adventurous thing. And there you can find, rather than having a negative feeling towards a painful feeling, you can still play a little with pain and the primary object. Or that means mindfulness is now learning how to tackle 2 things at a time, and one thing pleasant, one thing unpleasant, one thing close, one thing far away, one thing gross, one thing subtle, one thing past, one thing present, one thing yet to come. Likewise, that 11 facets going to give so much of tools, so much of to develop patience and persistence even under threatened situation. And day by day you will increase your tolerance level. And the Buddha says the beginners yogis never understand how much they are gaining the patience, gaining the immunity, because he or she is ever working with pain. But when you are daily practicing consistently, your tolerance level is increasing. It's unbelievably increasing. So therefore don't give up, even though you won't get tangible results, because the results are there due to your consistency, your regular practice. And ultimately you will understand the yesterday's very heavy feeling today become a normal feeling. And day after, today grave feeling, day after will be a normal feeling. Like it is increasing. So, more you put up with pain or put up with feelings, you understand only the feeling you feel with the gross mind, unmeditated mind is just like the tip of the iceberg. A huge area, you have to understand the submarine area. So, you have to give encouragement, you have to be prepared and try to go little further than yesterday, little further than the last sitting. And when we are going, you can see sometimes you can go quite deep or sometimes superficial, and ultimately you will understand your underlying tendencies. When your pleasurable feeling happens, how much you are pleasant. When your unpleasant, painful feeling happens, from distance you refuse it. Likewise, there is a play behind the screen. So whenever this is being explained by the Sigmund Freud in the early period in early 90s, the Carl Jung appreciated it, telling the Sigmund Freud is teaching you how to penetrate into the subconscious, or how to dig a tunnel to the subconscious by being patient with feelings, and ultimately you see there is a judgmental part, your reactional part, assuming part. It is happened invariably. It's a kind of your personality trait, and you consider this as a norm. You consider this as everyone's feeling. It is not. It is your own upbringing. It is your own cultural upbringing, or your memory, or your past experience. So therefore don't give a chance for this judgmental mind. Try to go little and little deeper and deeper. When you go there, you learn the feeling, not only the iceberg, tip of the iceberg, you learn little further and further. And when you go deep and deep into, you develop so much of sympathy upon oneself. And how much I can tolerate without making fuss, without complaining. And if it is so, how much time, peaceful time, I can be with the primary object. More you learn, more you master feelings, your time period with the primary object is naturally increasing. Your time period you can sit naturally increasing without changing the posture. The time period you can do walking meditation naturally increasing. So this is how you develop the maturity in your meditation, and it is not only you, even outsiders can see. Your behavior is changing. So don't expect that to happen in the result-oriented manner. The persistence, a continuity, a regular practice is the part to give this kind of a subtle characteristics. So this is the culture. This is what you call developing of the mind, meditation, culturing happens. So it is happening according to your own characteristics. It is happening according to your own upbringing. Don't follow the others. If you are going to follow the others, you have to understand his or her values are different, upbringings are different, and traits are different. But going into the deeper layers, basically the no pain, no pleasure situation, changing nature, and preparedness, is keep the door open. Mind become very, very open-minded, and every challenge, every unpleasant feeling now become like an adventurous thing. It's a new research grounds like. And there you find, and it's very nicely it has been expressed, more and more you come to the neutral feeling, no pleasure, no pain, you understand how much I am ignorant, how much I do not know the reality, I am talking too much because I know only little. When you go understand, let the knowledge to come from the beginning to the middle to the end, you feel whatever we do, it is confined and restricted to pleasure principle. And it is blocking our knowledge. So therefore you have to give up. Give up your values. Give up your likings and disliking. Give up your preconceived idea, at least in the sitting posture, and let the mind to go there. And there you find it is more food to your thoughts. And it is increasing by ways developed by you and yourself, or ways and means developed by yourself. This is just a hiatus, this is just a catalytic kick. And more you practice, it will not limited to sitting and walking, or sitting and walking and day-to-day activities in the retreat center or retreat atmosphere. Wherever you go, you can make use it whenever the time permits. So you have to be skillful to make use this opportunity. With that remark, I would like to sum up the day's talk today. Thank you very much for listening. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.